Today Africa Podcast is a podcast series where we interview African entrepreneurs and professionals and share the stories behind their businesses. In each interview, we ask how they got started, how they grew, and how they run their business today. The stories are inspiring and also provide specific advice and insight into starting a business. By sharing these stories, we want to help others get started.
Seyi is an agronomist first. I'm an agronomist, I'm an agribusiness consultant, and I'm the co-founder of Crop2Cash. And what I do at Crop2Cash is I lead the innovation, design, and research team at Crop2Cash. So I'm the head of research. I am responsible for most of the innovations that feed our technological products. So you can just think of me as the crop in Crop2Cash.
What inspired you people to start Crop2Cash, and what problems are you guys solving in the markets?
The inspiration behind us starting Crop2Cash was my co-founder Michael. We're both friends from university, so we're both from the same hostel, and we've been friends since our first year in the university. So Michael was the one that approached me with the original idea. He was like, he's a computer scientist. I was an agronomist in training then, and then he was like, what problem can we solve in the agricultural sector? And I'm like, how long do you have? Like, how many problems do you think you can solve in the agricultural sector? I can give you a list. So we started on that, and the first thing we decided to solve was supply chain management and post-harvest loss. That was the first problem we addressed with our innovation. And then we just started from there, and the idea that started in that little school hostel developed into what is now Crop2Cash today. So basically, I would say it was Michael that inspired the innovation, the initial innovation. He basically challenged me to be creative, and that's what we've always been doing.
In Nigeria, before you start a business, there's always a process to follow. So can you tell us or describe the process of launching Crop2Cash?
Like I said, when we started, then we're just very, very young guys that were very passionate. There was a lot of passion and little little knowledge. I would say we grew in knowledge as we evolved in the business. So we funny thing is we did some things first before doing other things. So we've had ideas, we've had innovations, we've been applying for grants without having a registered business. This is very funny. So we got a contract from GIZ. It was for the Competitive African Rice Initiative, and we were supposed to develop a supply chain management platform for rice mills across Nigeria. So we got the contract. We fulfilled the first compliance of the because the first thing we did then was information gathering. So we did that. So we sent invoice hoping to get our payments for the first batch. Mind you, without having a registered business, or we didn't have a registered business and we didn't have a corporate account. So when they were ready to send the money, we sent an individual account to them. They had to jump on a call with us like, are you guys joking? So I tell people that so imagine being brilliant enough to land a contract, but not being brilliant enough to register your business before even going through all of that. So I would say they were very gracious and very patient with us. So they gave us a 2 weeks ultimatum to get our affairs in order, because obviously it would be they could even arrest them for sending a contract fee to an individual account. So we did not know that,
Yeah.
but then after then we we registered our business, and that was the first step to making things official. That was when we realized that we have to be very mindful of compliance, and since then we've never made that kind of mistake. that
Okay.
that happened, and then we started developing innovations. Now that we have, like, then after the business registration, we just basically took an entire course on compliance, how to run a tech company in Nigeria, outside Nigeria. So right now, when it comes to compliance, hosting, and every single thing like that, we are very, very much tight on that because we realized how much non-compliance can basically jeopardize your business. So we just take that going forward, and we always operate on that modus operandi.
Explain to me what your startup Crop to Cash, what it's all about, what people do.
What we do at Crop to Cash is we make formal financing accessible to smallholder farmers. That's basically what we do in a nutshell. And what I mean by formal financing, it includes financial orientation, financial inclusion, and financial access. So, to
Okay.
me, I feel like a lot of people try to create solutions in a not so suitable manner. It's more or less like trying to feed a baby solid food from like 2 months old. There has to be a process. It has to be accessible. It has to be digestible for the farmers. So one of our innovations is our USSD technology, and it's basically a
Okay.
USSD code that farmers can dial. We understand that telling a farmer to maybe get a smartphone, subscribe to an internet access on a smartphone, try to maybe download apps off Play Store, Google Store could be very, very cumbersome. And to some of these
Okay.
farmers, they don't even have smartphones, they use function phones. And then any function phone can dial a code. And once you dial the code and you follow the prompt, you get connected to a digital economy. You get access to a sort of wallet account that basically enables you to perform both agricultural and non-agricultural transactions. So a lot of our farmers call us the farmers bank because of this product offering. I don't think there is any USSD code or USSD based wallet that can help you both buy airtime, which is a basic financial transaction, and at the same time where you can buy insurance, crop insurance, buy crop inputs, and also get access to advisory. So what we do is we bundle e-extension services and agricultural financial services together in a nutshell. And all of this also helps to feed our data bank, which we use to profile farmers for credit from financial institutions. We understand that there is a lending gap in the agricultural sector in Nigeria right now, with about, I think the lending gap is about up to 90%. Uh, Banks don't
Wow.
feel the need to lend to agriculture because they perceive that it's a risky uh, enterprise. So what we basically do is we de-risk this entire process with data backings from what the farmers have done on our USSD process to the financial institution. So we don't tell the farmers to bring money because they don't even have this money to start with. We don't tell farmers, bring money, I'll get you this. So what we basically do is we try to make things as free and as accessible for them as possible. You might, a lot of people might look at it as giving them freebies, but we have other revenue models that excludes these farmers because they are underserved. It's more or less like telling a beggar to give you money. It sounds very ironic when you think about it. So we try as much as possible, it's as easy for these smallholder farmers as possible.
That means your target audience are the informal, let me use the word, the informal sector in the agricultural industry, like the farmers
Yes.
in the villages.
Yes, exactly. So most of our farmers are in the northern part of Nigeria, and they are mostly informally backed, not formal, or should I say contract farmers. So they are farmers that
Okay.
own from 1 hectare to 5 hectares of land, and they cultivate this amount of land, and basically we just basically support them through their entire crop process. And if some of them are up for financing, they get access to financing. If not, they have other product offerings that we give to them, and that's basically how we've been operating.
What were the challenges that people faced in the early days of crop to cash, and how did you people overcome it?
Okay, so the first two, I already highlighted one of them, not being knowledgeable enough to
Yeah.
navigate the industry, but that changed really fast for us because one thing that I and my co-founders pride ourselves on is it makes one look stupid if you keep making the same mistakes. So once we take a learning from a
Yeah.
particular thing, we always look at ways to improve, ways to move forward from that, not necessarily maybe pinpoint blame or whatever. Just try as much as possible to move forward. Try as much as possible to keep the ball rolling. So we try not to make the same mistakes. That's one. Uh, the other challenging thing is working with farmers themselves, most especially when
Okay.
it comes to lending and financing. Like I said, it's very, very interesting. You sometimes your best intentions, like the good intentions and your pure intentions, are it's a very good trait to have, but at the same time, you should try as much as possible to protect yourself. What I mean by that is most times when we lend, we try to make it input financing and not cash financing. Cash can easily disappear in, and you might not really have an overview. So, and it is also part of the lessons that we learned from financial orientation. So sometimes when you give someone cash, you might give the person, say, the economics of production is like 300,000 naira, and you give the person 300,000 naira cash, and the purpose of the cash is to get fertilizer, get this, get that. We are all human beings. Even me, if you give me 300,000 naira to hold for you right now, and you come back in maybe a day or two, and you tell me to account for the 300,000 naira, I might forget about the airtime that I purchased with some of the money from, like, basically to instill financial discipline. We make it input financing strictly for these smallholder farmers. Another lesson that I would say we learned is, or should I say, challenge that we face, is when we go to the field. You know, we do a lot of monitoring and evaluation, and the core of our operation is in the north. So there is the security risks that we incur just to travel to these places. But then those are occupational hazards, but it doesn't change the fact that it's a challenge. Like there are so many times where we have to, like, uh, even keep our GPS tracker on when we are in the car, just to let people at the office know where we are at different intervals. There's also the risk of navigating the field. I've 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 had an accident at a dam once before. Uh, there was like a dam, and it was supposed to be just very shallow, and I didn't know there was a deep part. Thank God for improvisational swimming classes and all of that. So those are some of the challenges that we face on the field. Some of the security challenges, security threats that we face on the field. But then overall, we've never had any incidents, and I think it's a little bit of being very security conscious, and also coupled with, should I say, luck, because you can't overemphasize the role of luck in some of these things. I've been to over 30 states in Nigeria, with majority of them not. So I have been to most of these red zones, and we've worked with farmers there. We've deployed innovations there. So basically, those are most of the challenges that we face.
Money is a big issue in Nigeria. And just
Yeah.
like one of the founders, he said, many businesses fail not because the business will be a bad idea, but just due to the founders or the founder didn't access few millions. So
Yeah.
how did you people raise capital for your business?
Okay. So two ways actually. Uh, Equity funding, which is one of the fastest way to also lose ownership, and also, should I say, sometimes it can be the reason most businesses fail. But then you still have to do a lot of equity financing. Uh, we basically do debt financing from the financial institutions that we work with. That is debt towards the farmers. So most of the risk is not on us. It's just a risk sharing formula with the financial institutions. So we are immune to that. And we also do lots of grant financing. A lot of our funding has been through grants, and that is what I try to mostly encourage with entrepreneurs. A lot of entrepreneurs try to shy away from grant financing because, obviously, for grant financing, you have to show workings, and you also have to uh, show proof of certain milestones that you've completed before you can access the fund. So most times when people are scared of work, they shy away from grant financing. But I really enjoy grant financing because when you look at it from the business standpoint, it is free money to get your business done. So why not just do it? All you need to do is be accountable. and be open to scrutiny. That is the only downside to grant financing, which I obviously welcome because my business is compliant in every way, and I can easily just show proof of what I've done, what I will be doing, and then get financing for it. So we try to also focus on lots of grant financing. I will be very fortunate to secure grants from multiple organizations. We work with USAID, we're still working with them. We've worked with GSMA, we've worked with organizations under CGIAR, and trust me, grant financing is just very, very good for business. It also helps you grow at a very stupendous rate. There was a grant that we recently secured with Crop2Cash that enabled us to train over 1,500 extension agents at one go, and it was really interesting and challenging at the same
Wow.
time. It basically pushes you to work, and I really welcome it. It's very instrumental to growth. So grant financing and equity financing is basically how we're able to raise funds.
Before someone starts a business, he or she is always thinking how to make money. The goal of starting a business is to make money. Yes, you
Yes.
are offering value, you are offering solutions, but the end goal is to make money. So, what's your business model and how does crop to cash generate revenue?
Okay. Thank you very much for that. So, on the what our model is very commission based, and
Okay.
the reason why I would say that is because we try to shift most of the cost of some of these products and most of the cost of these activities away from the smallholder farmers that we serve. So we basically charge a percentage commission on input and need demand aggregation. What I mean by that is we have different value chain actors, input providers, insurance partners, and we basically aggregate demands on their behalf. Take, for instance, when we lend to farmers, it is in the form of input financing. We aggregate input needs and we basically facilitate the supply to the farmers, and we charge a percentage commission. And also on credit unlocked, we charge a percentage of every credit recovered from our financial partners. So they basically are responsible for the interest rate, which is their profits. So we basically do enter a profit sharing formula. Sometimes it is 40, 60, sometimes it varies. So basically, we help them with monitoring and evaluation, and we get a cut of the profits. So our revenue model is mostly commission based. Most partners we help them with aggregating demand. And the thing about agriculture is it is very interesting when you play at scale. You might look like say you might look at maybe a 5% margin on inputs, like maybe it's very small or something, but when you do that at scale, when you do metric tons of that, you start to see returns. So we try to make it commission based just to shift the burden of cost from our farmers, and basically we that's how we basically operate, commission based. We charge commission on inputs and also other services, and then we also charge a percentage of credit unlocked.
Since people launched crop to cash, what has worked in attracting and retaining customers?
Okay. Two things. How much you're willing to work, and what I mean by work is getting to where these customers are. Then number two is your product offering. You see a lot of products, you you get users at the beginning, and then after a while they just stop using it. So to retain customers, your product offerings have to be very solid and value based. So around this, what we've tried to do is, like I said, our product is readily accessible and you can basically use it on any device. So you don't have the excuse of, oh, because I don't have internet I might not be able to interface with your products. uh, and also we've focused a lot on our customer acquisition strategies. So we did lots of traveling to these farm communities, sensitizing the farmers, and also you people are most likely to adopt your products when you demo it instantly. So if it is a product that works like magic, what I mean by magic is when you tell a farmer that you can create an account in less than 2 minutes if you follow these prompts, and the farmer actually follows the prompts and he sees that he gets an account immediately, it works like magic. They find the need to talk about it even when they get back to their local communities. They'll basically tell you, oh, this works. when your product works, most times farmers are most likely to use it. Another good example is our weather advisory products that we launched sometimes in 2020 after COVID. It was part of a strategy to reduce crop loss due to flooding and also drought periods. So we use rainfall data to give farmers advice on different parts of their value of their production. Like, okay, maybe you're trying to apply fertilizer today, and the rain is going to rain heavily. Don't apply fertilizer at this time, because if you basically apply it at that time and every rainfall comes, it basically washes away your fertilizer. So that purpose is already betrayed. You've even done more harm to the ecosystem by putting fertilizer in the water system. So we deployed that, and there was a particular time where farmers got rainfall advice in the northern part of Nigeria, like, oh, don't don't perform this operation at this period. Some listened, some did not. So when it happened and rain fell and everything happened, we got the best user feedback from the farmers that did not listen to the advice, because they basically called like, "Oh, are you guys witches or what? How come you told us it was going to rain and it rained?" I'm like, "Did you guys go to your field or did you not?" We're not witches, it is technology. So most times when what you're bragging about works like it is supposed to, it is the best proof of concepts that you can get, and people basically become your champions themselves. If this works for this person and he knows the value he got for maybe relatively no amount of ASU, they basically use other fintech platforms. If they can do what they do on those fintech platforms on your platform, coupled with agricultural transactions, they feel they need to talk about it, they feel they need to continuously use it. So that is one thing that has worked for us.
Two people coming together to start a business, to start a company. But as time went on, there was need to bring in more hands to join the
Yes.
movement. So what's your approach to hiring and building a team?
Okay. Um, I would say the best approach to building a team is always, you should have the ability to spot potential, at the same time to also spot certain soft skills like collaborative efforts, all of those things while hiring. And also, our team is actually a team of three founders. We have a third co-founder, MM, is in charge of our operations.
Okay.
Michael leads the team while I'm in charge of innovative development and research. So MM joined us when we first started the idea, and we met at an hackathon competition. He was supposed to be a part of another team. Then he met myself and Michael and was like, "Oh, guys, I would like to be a part of your team if you don't mind." And since then, we've been partners and co-founders. MM is much more older, so he brings that perspective sometimes when we're working, because he basically calls us, it says you children when we are having strategy sessions sometimes, and maybe I'm trying to get ahead of myself or my co-founder is trying to get ahead of himself. So we just combine a lot of these attributes. He's also an agri-economist and an agricultural extensionist. So he has that coupled with my knowledge of agronomy and agribusiness. And then Michael's computer science experience, we just perfectly combine it, and that's what gives us crop to cash. So when it comes to hiring, we hire lots of software engineers because lots of our innovations are software innovations. We also have like an entire team of customer support associates, because we prioritize customer experience and customers should have a point of contact, someone they can easily reach. We have a marketing team, a business development team, and a financial team. So that's basically how our team is formed, and we basically just build. Our approach to team building is first culture. You have to be able to work in crop to cash, you have to understand what working in crop to cash entails. And we try as much as possible to operate an open door policy. You can, even if someone is not around, you can easily drop a message on Google Space. We, the co founders, are easily accessible to our team. Anybody can text me at any time, as long as you keep it a text at inappropriate time. I would, even if I'm sleeping, I'll wake up to it. So we try as much as possible to keep a very open line of communication. And also, we have a well balanced team. It's not very obvious in our founding team because we are the three of us are men, but we have, I think, a 50% female uh, to male ratio in the organization, and we have even more female team leads within the organization. So most of our team leads, we have like a 60-40 distribution of team leads that are female, and that gives us perspective. Like I always say, you think a man is brilliant until you meet a woman that is just like that man. So I prioritize perspective, and most times when you're working, most especially in the tech space, you are sometimes working with the aggressiveness of a man, and sometimes you just need that person to always keep you that voice. Like you need additional perspective from different other people. Also, when it comes to strategy, I feel like females champion strategy, and also transcending strategy into active tasks and all of that. I I also believe, like, I believe in the female mind when it comes to activities like that. So that is basically our team approach. We always look for a balanced team, someone that can balance both culture and uh, work discipline most times. And it's actually been very interesting.
How is Crop to Cash doing today, and what does the future look like?
Okay. Well, today, because we're in Nigeria, I'll say we're doing our best.
Okay.
Uh, what the future looks like is I see us becoming the leading service, or or software service provider in the agricultural space in Nigeria in the next couple of years. We are actively working to become industry leaders, and that's basically the goal. Most times, I don't. That is the only goal in my life that I don't put like a fixed, or say a fixed, or should I say it's. It might not sound like a smart goal, but that is the goal actually. So that is what we're looking to do. We're developing innovations. We're constantly working to also further position ourselves in that particular spot. And also, I didn't speak about this. We recently launched an AI powered hotline that is toll free for farmers. And basically, what it does is it bridges the extension gap in Nigeria. Imagine an extension agent that you can call at any time, and it gives you up to date information, whatever query you put in, it gives you a response, or it works on a response for you, and it is real time. You can call it in the midnight, you can call it anytime, and it is toll free as long as you have power on your
Wow.
phone. You don't have to worry about how much it is going to charge or whatever. So that is what we recently launched, and it has been game changing for us. So when I say I see us becoming industry leaders in the service delivery space in agriculture, I am not lying.
We're in the era of knowledge, and things are coming up to make our work easier for us.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about the key lesson that you have learned. So, what are some key lessons that you have learned in your journey as an entrepreneur?
Um, what I've learned is it's actually very interesting because I I've always been an entrepreneur even before Crop2Cash. I was a student entrepreneur in school, but what I discovered was running that was is a totally different ball game to running Crop2Cash, because Crop2Cash is both impact based and profit oriented, and also it requires lots of brain knowledge. So with other entrepreneurial activities, all you need to do is just keep inventory, keep things going and all, and market. But with crop to cash, you have to deploy solutions in the best way it could be assessed. So one thing I've learned that really stands out for me is that as a founder, you have to grow alongside your business. So Crop to Cash is 6 years, going to 7 years in operation now officially, and we've started the idea for over 7 to 8 years now. What I've discovered from then is, if I am to compare anything, at least in this space, we've grown so much in knowledge and in expertise that no amount of maybe training or acceleration can do that to you. So most times, my co-founder MM makes a joke that we don't need business school given what we've gone through in the Nigeria agri-tech space. But I still say, oh, don't worry, we need business school. So there are lots of first-hand knowledge that you will get. You just have to be very open to growth and learning. There are so many things that I've been forced to do that I would normally not see myself doing. For an introvert, I do a lot of stakeholder management because it is money. I need money. I have to call these people, keep them in the loop of things, send emails, do all sorts of things, generate invoices. Like I would like to think of myself as someone that is not so, but then when the need comes, I have to be pushy and all of that. So it's actually very interesting. I would say I have grown a lot because when you do things that you would normally not do as a person, it shows growth, it shows being able to take initiative. And those are two things that has really stood out for me. You have to be very things happen very fast in the startup space. So you have to be very quick on your feet, and you also have to be open to doing a lot of things and at the same time growing alongside your business. So I try to tell people that even as a founder, you're most likely the most hardworking person in your organization because you're doing this at the same time, doing that at the same time, talking to investors, trying to raise funds, try to also do grant applications, all those other things. If you're not a very hardworking person, your business might suffer. And I also try to acknowledge the fact that I have co-founders. Trust me, if it was a one-man business, maybe I would maybe I have more gray hair or something. Because sometimes they give you the ability to delegate. There's no shame when it comes to when we want to delegate. Michael will delegate a task to me, I will delegate a task to him. MM will delegate it. Like we basically just share the burden sometimes. When we notice there's a lot of pressure on Michael, we take tasks off his hands, and it's very, very interesting. So I would also acknowledge the fact that co-founders sometimes save your life.
So what advice would you give to other entrepreneurs who are about to start their business?
Okay. So this is actually a very good question. I would say don't start if you're not ready. And what I mean
Okay.
by that is running a business is very difficult. But running a business as an African or as a Nigerian entrepreneur is almost 7 times as difficult as people that are our counterparts that are in the Western world or in Europe, for example. And I have all the facts to back this. It is deeply depressing. You can't export capital in foreign currency when your currency keeps dropping, or should I say, keeps depreciating. There's the perceived risk of investments coming to this part of the world. You have to be ready for that. And also, there's also the perception that has been created for Africans, should I say Nigerians? Uh, should I say the first thing that okay, something happened recently. I was in Berlin, and we were lots of African founders in place. And while we were introducing ourselves and the country that we come from, I mentioned Nigeria, and someone said fraud capital, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So in a world like that, you have to be super open and also operate with transparency, because what we try to do is we try to break the stereotype. So if they say Nigerians are 419, I know that I am not one. So we're trying to like break the stereotype that has been created for African founders, Nigerian founders. So you should, for budding entrepreneurs, you should be open to scrutiny. And if you know that you want to do illegal stuff, all the best to you. EFCC will catch you one day. But if you want to run a legal, legit business, be open to compliance, be open to scrutiny. You can't run a business and not be tax compliant. You can't be paying employees' salary and not be remitting tax to the federal government. You can't be creating software innovations and not be paying hosting fees and all of these things. So you have to be open. And also when it comes to investment, what we try to encourage that really impresses most of our budding investors is we open physical due diligence meetings. So you want to get to know my business, why not come over for to our office? We'll show you around. You get to meet the people building the innovation. That way you know that we're running a transparent business. It is not a money laundering front or anything. So that is what I would advise entrepreneurs. Prioritize what you're doing and try as much as possible to carry yourself the way you want to be viewed outside the country. So that's basically my advice to anybody in entrepreneur.
Thank you so much, Sheyi, for your time. You've taken our time to talk to us about Crop2Cash and the amazing work you guys are doing. I really appreciate you guys. At least you people are helping the farmers to go to farm.
Today Africa Podcast is a podcast series where we interview African entrepreneurs and professionals and share the stories behind their businesses. In each interview, we ask how they got started, how they grew, and how they run their business today. The stories are inspiring and also provide specific advice and insight into starting a business. By sharing these stories, we want to help others get started.